This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carranante.
Welcome to the Yanks Go Yard podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib alongside Thomas Carranante. The New York Yankees have 13 games remaining in their regular season in 2025. They just knocked off 12 games, which we call the Gauntlet, which everybody believed was their measuring stick for how they would perform against playoff-level talent. How'd it go? Well, they won 3 of the 4 series, and the series they won were against the 3 teams that you really hated coming into the Gauntlet. So I would say pretty good, unless you wanted a sweep in there somewhere, which, I did.
Would have been cool.
I wanted one, unless you wanted to win all 4 series. You really care about how they stacked up against the Detroit Tigers. They played, I would go ahead and call it 3 of the weirdest games of the season in that series, just like an absolute blowout in the finale. You can kind of toss that one out if these teams go head-to-head. 2 fugly ones in the first 2, but fugly in ways that were confusing and unpredictable, and we talked about those on the last show. But other than that, they won some tight playoff-style games against Toronto and Houston, and then they went to Fenway Park over the weekend in a series that I would call the most Red Sox sweepable of the year. Lucas Giolito, Brayan Bello, who owns us, and Garrett Crochet lined up for Sunday Night Baseball. Luis Gil, who's made a handful of starts this year, has been better lately, but is not the guy that you want going in a series like this. Max Fried on Saturday, again against Bello, who has the lowest ERA against the Yankees in the expansion era, basically minimum of I think it's 10 starts, but by God, he crushes them. And then, Crochet on Sunday night, basically a walkover against Will Warren. You hope not, but come on, guys, this is a reasonable podcast. Let's level with each other. You didn't expect to win that game. And you look at that and you go, you're starting to do the mental calculations. I yelled about it on the last show. How many games can they lose and still be ahead by X number of games in the wild card? I'm not even talking about the top wild card. I'm talking about the very bottom, the Rangers and the Guardians. Okay, well, let's just chalk those 3 up as losses. And then what do they need from the rest of baseball? And they go ahead and win the first 2. And sometimes we talk about how losing the last one can end a series on a frustrating or sour note and make you forget about all the gains from earlier in the series. I would have much rather won the first 2 and lost the third than split the first 2, had to win the Sunday night just to take the series and survive. They took care of all the business they really had to do in the first 2 games. And the first one was one of the easiest wins Aaron Boone has ever had at Fenway Park. And I know how crazy that sounds, but I'm counting plenty of larger blowouts that got tighter and hairier than that. Then Saturday, the requisite, this game should be over. No, it's not. But by God, Cody Bellinger came up clutch, and so did David Bednar, and so did Devin Williams. We got to talk about it later. Mm-hmm. And he's hold off the Red Sox in a game they would have blown a month ago. So we get to gloat a little bit after a fun series at Fenway that sets the Yankees up way better than I could have ever expected. Plenty more, including Alex Cora's reaction to the couple of losses, the way the Yankees are set up moving forward, what we can expect from the rest of the chase of the postseason. It's not over yet. Still some time for some speed bumps. This will not all go down quite as smooth as the Friday and Saturday at Fenway. Are we sold on the Jose Caballero experience? Again, one pitcher who had no business being as good as he was against the Red Sox, but certainly was a superstar turn for Jazz Chisholm. What we learned from the loss, so much more. Thomas Carranante, welcome to the show.
Wow, it's an honor to be here, guys. Yankees beat the Red Sox. We have to be thrilled. You can't not be thrilled. On the record, anybody wants to ever call me out for being negative again, you have my 7-5 prediction before this gauntlet started. The Yankees finished 7-5 in this gauntlet.
I had him at 6-6, and I had him at an anxious possibility of a 5-7. But I would have been totally fine with 6-6, and I am pumped with 7-5. You wanted them to prove it to you, and after the first 2 that they split with one great win and one devastating loss, we were like, they just proved that's the proof. There you go. They could be great one day and terrible the next. They did a much better job of proving themselves than I thought. That was harsh criticism and maybe not fair. They nailed it.
I think it's fair. I think it's all fair. It's been an up and down year, and a lot of it has been what I think most fans would consider unacceptable for a top contending team that has not dealt with a whole lot of injury issues Yes, I know Garrett Cole was lost for the year. Yes, I know a couple of guys have been dinged up along the way, but there hasn't been any roster-altering injuries that the Yankees have experienced like in prior seasons. So I think most of the criticism here is fair, especially because what we talked about last episode, Aaron Boone preaching equilibrium over and over and over again, and this team, from a performance standpoint, does not deliver on that end. They might say that that's their mental approach, but that is not their productive output. This was the first time, honestly, since Memorial Day weekend, the Yankees were able to preach that equilibrium. So you defeat the Blue Jays last weekend. We talked about that, how it was like, great, you took 2 out of 3. Wasn't overly impressive. Just keep the train rolling. You get the off day on Monday, and then you have those 2 hell games against the Tigers where the bullpen melts down in historic fashion. And then you're wondering why that was the case. You came off a series win against the division leader. Now you're faltering to this degree, and it makes no sense. The only game the Yankees win in that series is a bullpen game for the Tigers because they're just down too many pitchers. So you're not sold after that series either. You say
it's like the World Series last year. They won one game, and it was like Daniel Hudson and Ben Kasparius, and it was like, okay.
So you look at that and you're like, okay, they won the game they were supposed to. I guess I'm thankful for that. But also, what did I just watch these previous 2 games? So very reasonable, I think, for everybody to be worried going into Fenway. Fast forward, they preached equilibrium. That was a really bad Tiger series. The finale didn't really convince anybody that this team was doing anything different because they just beat up on a bunch of pitchers who the Tigers had no choice but to throw. And here you are, you go into Fenway on Friday night. Luis Heel, 6 hitless shutout innings. He had to come out because he threw too many pitches. And you get an Aaron Judge home run in the first inning, an absolutely incredible blast.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes alive in this series. So, like you said, it was a kind of a coast-to-coast winner. There were some scary moments in there in between with the bullpen, and then with a couple of issues with runners in scoring position, particularly, the fact that they went 2 for 9. The Red Sox just outworst them, going 0 for 8. So I think that, however, speaks to the work that the Yankees pitching staff has done. I think they did really good scouting leading into this series, and they attacked the hitters that they needed to. Even Will Warren last night, he got fucking dinked and dunked for like good location on a lot of those pitches. Jarren Duran's hit, that's a fly out anywhere else. Nate Lowe, I don't know what that was and how that ball got through. Alex Bregman's ground ball must have been 30 miles an hour. I don't know where the infield was playing on that play. So there's a lot of, I think, the only criticism I have with this entire series, I have 2. And one is, and I want to get these out of the way because I don't really want to talk about them. One is Fernando Cruz coming in on Saturday. Why? But why are we running this guy into the ground, especially when he's not pitching well? He gives up a home run the night prior, and you're right back in it. Like, hey, gives up a home run immediately in this one, and he's not right. Stop doing this to relievers who are actually valuable to this team. You're going to run the man into the ground and destroy his mentality before the postseason. I understand it's an imperfect situation. We don't really know what's up, but Luke Weaver was warming up in that game. And then, Luke Weaver was warming up on Friday, and then they didn't throw him, and then they threw Cruz instead. Cruz gives up a homer, and then you have to go to Devin Williams, and you're like, why did this happen? So that's one thing. I understand the bullpen stuff is not going to be perfect because it's not a great unit, and Aaron Boone has his hands tied. So we will sympathize with him for a bit. But I think the biggest layup of the entire series, in order to not have made yourself susceptible to criticism, is just leaving Cruz out unless either the game was out of reach for either side. He's not fit to pitch in close game situations at this moment. They need to figure out what's wrong with him. Secondly, and look, I didn't think we were sweeping the series. I was really impressed that they took the first 2, but yesterday's lineup was a little bit too punty for me. I don't get it. Jazz Chisholm's batting 5th, 6th, and 7th in this series. Like, what? Why? I don't understand why he's moving around so much. I don't understand why Austin Slater's batting leadoff. I don't understand why Austin Slater and Ahmed Rosario are in the lineup in the same game. Just weird, and it didn't seem like the Yankees needed to do that. I would have rather maybe go for this one and then done something creative tonight if that was a possibility, but I'm not unhappy about it. It's just the critical angle we need to take. It was not a perfect weekend. It was a very good weekend. The Yankees have cushion over the Red Sox now. Division's going to be harder. Blue Jays keep winning. Orioles just absolutely shit the bed in Toronto this weekend, so there was nothing we could do about that. But overall, like, I think the most important thing to take out of all of this is the Yankees managed to win those first two games, and Trent Grisham and Giancarlo Stanton are looking the worst they have all year. Honestly, like they're not in a great place. And they'll get through it, and I'm confident they'll be fine. But the fact that everybody else stepped up and managed to put pressure on the Red Sox and score when they needed to, like, it's the stuff we were asking for. Thank you, guys. Very awesome. Yeah, Luis Gil. I mean, 5 career starts against the Red Sox, sub-1 ERA. I think he's got to be in one of those first 2 games of a postseason series if they face Boston.
Yeah, I think even saying the positive things that we said are underselling how impressive it was that they won the first 2 there. Like, again, we're ready to rage. We're ready to attack them after a loss. But there was, again, no more losable series on the board than that. You were trying to get one. You were like, Fried on Saturday seems like the best chance. Maybe if they could solve Bello for once, we'll see. But, the opener, the Red Sox are coming out hungry. You assume. You think, and then they come out flatter than I've seen them in forever. And a lot of it is the loss of Roman Anthony. Sure. I'm going to go ahead and I'm also flagging this after my weekend at Fenway Park, which I expected to be a complete disaster, with the stadium pulsating and rocking and shaking. First of all, green jerseys Friday night, yellow jerseys on Saturday. Give me a break.
Fuck you.
A bunch of friends who were watching it were like, what's going on? Like, the Savannah Bananas are playing. And I was like, no, the Red Sox just do this now. Like, they wear their actual jerseys, some of the best in baseball, like once a month, it would seem. They've got like red alts and they've got
don't understand it.
Double City Connects for the biggest series of the year. And it's been a gimmick that's worked for them in the past. Didn't work this weekend, so it felt good. Secondly, challenge flag. I have heard enough people say that the Red Sox season changed the day they traded Rafael Devers and handed the reins to Alex Bregman and got him back from injury and just let him return, be the captain and counsel young players and take Nate Eaton aside and go, no, young fellow, what you want to do is make contact rather than strike out. That'll help in pressure situations. Nate Eaton just going, oh, like the Drake Lil Yachty meme. Like, oh my God, I'm supposed to hit. So many fluff pieces on Bregman and his impact that, forgive me, I sort of forgot to check the statistics. Alex Bregman in August hitting 260 with a 735 OPS and 2 homers. Alex Bregman in September, 12 games, only 1 homer. It went off the pole. It would not have been a home run anywhere else.
And that was his first homer at Fenway since July 20-something.
216 with a 606 OPS. And meanwhile, Rafael Devers has more B-WAR than Alex Bregman on the year, 3.8 to 3.5. And Devers has 30 home runs again. So I know the defense. I know what they're telling me about leadership. I know they're saying Bregman is the straw that stirs the drink and Rafael Devers doesn't speak unless spoken to. That's what's being fed to the general public. But Rafael Devers is a better hitter than Alex Bregman, as we knew, and we forgot for a little bit because, again, people were telling us otherwise, that everything changed in cascading fashion when they got rid of the cancer and brought back a healthy version of the best baseball rat in the world. But Bregman has... You can't do the counting stats, but again, Rafael Devers is proving in San Francisco on a Giants team that, by the way, is making a playoff push, that he is a superior offensive player, which we knew, but again, we're told to forget, and now we're remembering. And Bregman has not exactly been a steady hand without Roman Anthony. That Sox offense has mostly scuffled and had 1 good inning in this entire series, and it was the first inning against Will Warren, who has first inning trouble. So we'll try to get drilled down on that, but I don't even know if there's much to drill down on. Alex Bregman, very good player. Rafael Devers, better hitter. Both of them better than one of them. David Hamilton started in this series. A guy in the stands at Fenway Park said he's not a major league player on a hot mic on Apple TV. That guy's right. Devers at third, Alex Bregman at second might have helped things out in this set. And I just like Alex Bregman's legendary leadership is a nice narrative, but Roman Anthony changed this Red Sox team. He was the reason that they took off, not ditching a 30-homer bat, not just giving him away to San Francisco, not giving the keys to the car to Bregman, the Houston Astro that gets it, the gritty, gutty old Houston Astro, not one of the cheating ones, but like the one who's just pure baseball sense, Jim Rat type.
Well, yeah, you go to Boston and the narrative, you're the folk hero immediately. You start doing something good. Oh, this guy's a legend.
Yeah, Caucasian, in fact.
This guy's been here for 3 months. You've never seen leadership like this in your entire life. No one's ever done. It's like, I understand it's night and day because Devers, we heard from a lot of people throughout the baseball landscape that Devers did not have that, clubhouse influence leadership quality. But like, I think Alex Bregman's a really good player. There's nothing revolutionary about what he's done. Like, his best years are so far behind him. His best years came when the Astros were cheating. That's another thing that like people forget about. His best seasons 2018 and 2019. He's never come close to replicating those numbers again. Maybe one time. So like I don't know. It's all just blow smoke up your ass because you're in Boston type situation. And it's even funnier because like Red Sox fans tried to get everybody to feel bad when Roman Anthony went down. Oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. Our guy's injured. It's like, yeah, I mean, he's, again, a really good player. He's been here for 70 games, never played at the major league level before. Should not be the key to your success. The 21-year-old who just came up in the middle of the season from the minor leagues, and the rest of the offense is completely scuffling without Roman Anthony. Bregman's since Roman Anthony went down 2 weeks ago. Exactly, I think. Mm-hmm. Bregman, you listed his September stats. Those are the same. Jarren Duran, 235, sub 300 OBP, 1 homer, 3 RBI. Nate Lowe batting 111 with a 185 slugging. Carlos Narvaez, 227 with 1 home run and 2 RBI. Rafaela, I mean, that strikeout against Luke Weaver, that's got to get you benched, in my opinion. 129 with a 226 slugging. Trevor Story, 235 with a sub 300 OBP. So not discounting Roman Anthony as a future star. I know he's going to take my lunch money plenty of times over the next 10 to 15 years, but like, Red Sox, give me a break, man. That can't be the key to that can't be the key to your formula this year when he wasn't even in the equation in until June. So the Alex Bregman fluff pieces need to end because one kid went down and now the team is, now the entire tenor has changed around the team. First they were, going to the ALCS, and I know you'll like to talk about this. Alex Cora, tell Roman, envision your first at bat for the ALCS, and then what's Alex Cora doing after the series? Well, we might not get there. Why are we talking about October? Because you should be good and you should be in October, and I think that's a crazy 180 to do after less than 2 weeks.
I can't stand this fucking guy, and I'm on record as like, this is the most insufferable. Whenever we beat the Red Sox, like,
he's so Red Sox fandom. This is what Red Sox fans do. They're like, oh, we're the best ever. Then they go down. It's like, it doesn't even matter. Why are we thinking about October now?
I only hate, we're in a weird place in these rivalries where I don't really have much against the Red Sox roster. I think, again, the Red Sox without Roman Anthony, who is just like walking on a treadmill now, coming back from an oblique injury. This is not to say I don't fear Alex Bregman in the clutch. This is not to say I want to face Alex Bregman in front of the monster. This is not to say the Red Sox can't come and get the Yankees at Yankee Stadium if the two teams do play in a wild card series. I fear the Red Sox legitimately for good reason. I'm surprised the Yankees did what they did this weekend, but now I know they can do it, and now I know they can channel it into the rest of the season. From an 8-game losing streak against the Red Sox to finishing 3-1, that's huge. They have a chance here. If these two sides face off, the most recent data we've seen between them, a series win and a nice Sunday Night Baseball win at Yankee Stadium if they need it. So let's see how they get motivated. But Alex Cora has a reputation for being like a master motivator and for being beloved by the players. He got outfoxed by Aaron Boone this weekend, like routinely. Carlos Narvaez behind the plate, supposed to be able to control the running game, couldn't control Jazz and Jose Caballero at all, and dropped a throw home, allowing Caballero to score, and just like looked overmatched.
We looked like the Red Sox on Friday night.
Yeah, we did what the Red Sox keep doing to us, keeping the pressure on, again, using exemplary starting pitching to fuel that car. But the Yankees played with energy in a series where both teams needed to match the moment. And I expected if the Yankees were going to win this series, it was going to feel like that series in Houston, where the Astros were struggling entering the series. The Yankees were ready for the gauntlet, and the Yankees were going to have to match the energy of a team that is playoff bound and has done it before. And then what happened? I mean, even the games where it looked like the Yankees won a blowout, gave away a 4-1 lead in the middle game, and then almost gave away a 5-run lead in the last one because the Astros are relentless, led by excellent seasoned offensive players and an environment that pulsates. So the Red Sox had to match their energy of the crowd and the energy of the opposing team. And they should have had an easy advantage over the Yankees because they've done it all year. All you have to really do to get motivated is think, okay, tough West Coast trip. Aroldis Chapman finally loses a game, but this is a team that we have had the upper hand on since these two managers got into the dugout by and large, but especially this year. We have proven all we need to prove against them. We have run them over, and we have our 3 horses on the mound. So let's match their energy with our offense, and when we get on the bases, we are stealing bases. We are running. We are pushing the envelope. We are forcing the issue. And somehow the Yankees managed to do that. Over a Red Sox team that looked sort of worn out and deflated. And there was even, but of course, the Bregman puff pieces just never end. There was like a Bregman puff piece in The Athletic after Friday night that was like, Bregman took in the loss. He sat in front of his locker, but he could not get too down. He knew what to do. He knew how quickly these things spiral this time of year. He knew he had to get the young Red Sox ready for battle again. Well, first of all, it didn't work because they lost again on Saturday. So nice job getting them ready for battle. But second of all, that loss made the Red Sox 8-3 against the Yankees this year.
Yeah.
We really have to write about Bregman's steely resolve and his ability to shake off, negative energy. They almost never, they just lost a boilerplate 4-1
in a 162 game season too. Like
a very standard game. It was not a punch in the gut. It was not a late choke. It was a deflated, defeated game. So yeah, Bregman and everybody else has to get their energy up for the next day. And so does Cora, because he's the manager, but nobody did. Jazz Chisholm punched them in the mouth repeatedly on Saturday. The Yankees did their job, and the Yankees stars did their job more than the Red Sox did their job. And then Alex Cora, who I want to praise. There are a lot of Yankees who deserve praise, and we will praise them in like 5 seconds. I just want to get the Cora rant off now because I don't want to talk about him or think about him. And again, I know he has tricks up his sleeve eventually. He should. I'd be shocked if he doesn't, but I don't know where they were in this series. You're right. When Roman Anthony went down, the Red Sox had like a 5-game lead on a playoff spot. Sizable, reasonable. Get that to the finish line. He told Roman Anthony, to not get so down, to envision himself taking the first step out of the ALCS and let that guide his journey. That would mean the Red Sox would have to win the East and win the division series, or win the wild card series and win the division series. A solid motivational tactic. As a Yankee fan, it makes me retch. Like I threw up in my mouth when I heard it, but like
good manager message, I think.
I don't have any problem with that message. I think that's smart messaging, gets the fans fired up when it leaks too, right? Fans hear that's supposed to be private, but no, it's not, because you told the media, or you told Roman Anthony to tell the media, and it gets out. So fans are hyped. Fans are temporarily distracted from the major injury, and they're just thinking about how we bridge that gap between now and the ALCS. What does the team have to do to make sure that Roman Anthony's dream come true and he comes back and leads the Red Sox? That should energize the team. It didn't. For whatever reason being that they don't have Roman Anthony anymore, the team looked flatter than ever. And that 5-game advantage on a playoff spot became 2 after the Yankees won on Saturday. Now it's back up to 3. And they don't hold the tiebreaker with Texas, but they do over Cleveland. And the Red Sox are probably getting into the playoffs, but I guess it's not a sure thing. And when the media asked Alex Cora about, what this means for their playoff run, he snapped at them and said, it's too early to think about October. I don't like you guys thinking about October. Nothing's guaranteed. We need to focus on the here and now. That is a less good motivational message, because that one is vindictive. That's not for his team. That is demeaning the reporters who had taken his catnip and bait 2 weeks prior with the Roman Anthony quote. He brought up the playoffs with Roman Anthony and made sure that everybody knew that he said that. Then when the team started to struggle on his watch, he got mad at the reporters for bringing up the playoffs, which he had already done 2 weeks ago, and fed them like cheese snacks to make sure that they regurgitated his take out to the masses. So when the Red Sox are winning or when the Red Sox need a spark, guess who loves the media? When the Red Sox are struggling, guess who has no time for the media and wants to blame them for things that he did himself? Alex Cora, nobody has it easier than him, too. Nobody holds his feet to the fire. He's in a baseball city that loves baseball and has high standards, and the media is notoriously one of the tougher ones, but he gets off scot-free. Every single Alex Cora press conference should start by a Red Sox reporter going, you shouldn't even be here, right? Like, you got fired, right? Remember that? And until that happens, he's not getting as harsh treatment as he should be, or as he seemingly thinks he is receiving. And yeah, he plays the media like a fiddle. They do his bidding, and then they come back with just, it wasn't even a gotcha. It was just asking about the future and October, and all of a sudden, too soon to bring it up. Yeah, I absolutely can't stand this guy, and I never will.
Yeah. God, it's a Fisher Price media difficulty level for him. And then ridiculous. It's like I said, adopting the Red Sox fan base is, we talk about it every time we're about to play the Red Sox. March, sell the team, boycott the team, can't stand John Henry, this guy's the worst. Trade Devers, this is another reprehensible act. Can't believe this franchise keeps doing it to me. Then 10-game winning streak. Oh, we're all the way back in. All the way back in. The Yankees suck. This team is awful.
There's no easier job than being the leader of the Boston Red Sox and trying to get the media to eat up your quotes. All you have to do is play Nobody Believes in Us, or like do a little devilish grin and say something like, well, I guess, they counted us out and maybe they shouldn't have done that. Maybe one little win is all it takes to spark a World Series run, because the people print that and the people eat it up because they are a troll organization that loves to believe in any little thread being enough to unravel everybody else's plans and put the Red Sox back on top, because they've seen it before. The Red Sox have made epic comebacks. If you let the Red Sox into the playoffs, they usually go pretty far.
Their identity since 2004. And
so you remember last year when Garrett Cole threw that weird intentional walk game and got his ass kicked, and Alex Cora was like, wow, we're pretty much, we thought we were dead, but if we get into the playoffs, we got the Yankees to thank, and everybody ate that up. It's not that difficult. So all you really had to do was go, playoffs, maybe not as much of a guarantee as it was a couple of days ago, but I tell you what, all we need is one big win over the Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball, and suddenly we're right in the catbird seat again. Like, I don't think anybody wants to face this. If we could just get one win. He moves the goalposts all the time. So if he can move the goalpost from series sweep to series win to just one little win, and suddenly we're back on top. He could have done that, and instead he snapped at people because that's who he is under pressure.
We hate Alex Cora. Moving on. Jazz Chisholm, dude. This has to be first of all, Aaron Judge woke up in the series, which I think is probably the most notable.
5 for 10, 2 home runs, career.
And the home run on Friday night was the home run on Friday. Was his career Fenway average?
It was 203 entering the series, so bad, but hey, this was a huge series for him, and he did it.
Yeah, that the first inning home run on Friday was the tone setter they needed after what the bullpen had done earlier in the week against the Tigers, and then just plus playing just the whole thing about playing the Red Sox, right? You cannot either let the Red Sox strike first too often. Like, that's a lot of what goes on in these series is the Yankees either let them strike first or they leave the door open for the Red Sox to eventually make their move and come back. That's what's plagued them in this rivalry for however long. I learned this. We all learned this weekend. The Yankees are 16-6 in Fenway since 2019, dating back to 2019 in August and September. Mm-hmm. I knew that the record was favorable. I didn't think it was that lopsided. And I think that also has to be taken with a little bit of a grain of salt because the Red Sox were not contending at all in 2019. They were out of the race 2020, 2022, 2023, and last year. So yeah, I understand. 2021, depending on what they did that year, I didn't go back that far and look. That would have been legitimate because the Red Sox were a lightning rod that season, and obviously
Yankees swept them in a series right before they botched everything else ahead of the wild card game.
In 2021?
It was the one thing that went well in 2021. They got the Stanton grand slam against that lefty who was bad. And then they got a big Darwin's and Hernandez. And then they got a big Sunday Night Baseball win. And it was cathartic. All they needed to do was win one game against the Rays coming home. And they lost the first two against the Rays.
Yeah.
And almost lost the third one. So, again, another reminder that job's not finished. And that stat includes a 3-game series win where they took 2 out of 3 at Fenway against the 2020 Red Sox with nobody in the stands. And that Red Sox team was like 30 games under 500 and tanking so they could rehire Alex Cora and what I would describe as a criminal enterprise. But yeah, they've been better in August and September at Fenway than you'd think for sure.
So it was nice to see that because look, no matter how you look at it, it's the end of the year and the games matter more at the end of the year. Aaron Boone will tell you they don't, but they statistically do. You need to win. The calendar shrinks and you need to maximize as many wins as possible. So it was helpful to see that stat and know that maybe the Yankees have some sort of advantage here, but Judge waking up a little bit, going 5 for 10, dude, and he's clearly in the mind. It's very weird. He's in the heads of Red Sox fans. He gets mercilessly booed in Fenway, and I get it, right? Like I'm not against it at all. I think it's cool, but like Aaron Judge, he sucks in Fenway. Like, why are you booing? He's also like not very booable to me. If Judge, like, that's like the equivalent of us. I don't know. It's probably not a good comparison, but like even when Devers was here, like Devers was a pain in the ass, but he wasn't like a booable personality. And I don't even know, like Alex Bregman obviously is just because of everything that he's been involved in with the Astros, and then kind of just how he's transformed over the years into just I can't stand him talking to the media. There's just something up with him. But I don't even know. It'd be like in recent years, because this Red Sox team has changed so much, like there's hasn't been anybody who's been true like MVP caliber outside of Devers, but like even then I would only boo Devers coming up like maybe when he was facing Cole because you hated watching him go against Garrett Cole. So I just think it's hilarious that all of Fenway Park boos Aaron Judge the second he comes up to bat, no matter what inning it is. And I don't know if it's working anymore. Maybe I don't. I feel like it's gotten more aggressive over this last year, and Judge has found a little bit of an inroad to make some sort of an impact. But I don't know if you noticed that. I think it's bizarre, and I get like you're gonna like if I would boo anybody if I was a Red Sox fan, I'd be booing Stanton. He literally destroys you every time he faces you.
Mm-hmm. No, there's a hilarious like weird. Again, like the rivalry is in a strange state right now where I hate hypocritical Red Sox fans. I hate Alex Cora. I made that abundantly clear. I hate the amount of success they've had at our expense over the last 20 years, but the Red Sox roster is not full of hateable names. The Blue Jays roster is. Yeah. The Blue Jays roster is so much more insufferable. The most insufferable Red Sox is Bregman or Duran. It's close. Neck and neck. But neither rises to the level of Rafael Devers, and Devers didn't rise to the level of David Ortiz and Pedro Martinez, Jason Varitek. And I'm glad all those guys were there this weekend too, by the way. First pitch from Pedro on Friday, first pitch from Poppy on Saturday. No mention, of course, of Pedro Martinez throwing an old man to the ground head first, but my expectations, I guess, are too high for, again, that to be brought up in context of his legacy. But whatever. I guess we just accept we throw old men to the ground now by the head. But the Red Sox I despise are all from a previous era or are the current manager. The roster does not have guys that like I would boo every time they step to the plate or touch a bat. Cora coming out to argue, absolutely free reign, but it also is, it's a weird strategy to just do overwhelming automatic boos for a guy. Johnny Damon, like someone who defected from the Red Sox.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But Aaron Judge, who, doesn't play well against you by and large. And when Aaron Judge gets hurt, every Red Sox fan claims that the game is better with him in it. And we actually feel bad for you. And then when Aaron Judge is healthy playing against you, you're like, boo, you piece of garbage every time he bats. So is that really true? Are we sure? Jazz is the one
Boo Jazz, because Jazz is kicking your ass.
should be the lightning rod and should be every generation or every cycle, 3 years of roster cycle or whatever. And last year is for Dugo. It feels like the Yankees have a guy who gets takes shots at the opposition after one win in a 4-game series and then goes 0 for 10 with 8 Ks and 2 errors throughout the rest of the series and doesn't hold up their end of the bargain. And then the narrative is, oh, that guy was laughing at us. Then he got what was coming to him in the remainder of the timeline. Jazz is the guy who should be playing that role based on previous Yankee teams who should be dominating in his first game and then getting too big for his britches and then struggling for the remainder of the series. But in this one, Jazz stole third in the second inning, got gunned down. It was kind of silly. The Yankees were looking to keep the pressure on the Red Sox. And
I was pissed about that.
I get it. I was mad at the time that, it felt like the window is cracked, some positive early momentum, and Jazz goes ahead and closes it with nobody out and kind of a silly move. Well, he showed me he had a superstar weekend, an incredible game 2 in which that was the most important game of the series, objectively. He helped get them out to an early start with a swinging bunt and a check swing through the hole, and then hit the home run that really put the exclamation point on it. Without that home run, it is 3-0, not 4-0, and that lead is gone, surrendered by Fernando Cruz. The one thing I feel worse about leaving this gauntlet than when I entered it is the bullpen, because now I'm like, what is Fernando Cruz? Are we sure? Like, is Luke Weaver okay? Devin Williams looked good at points in this series, but I'm still not putting him in most high leverage situations. Bednar is Bednar. He was a bedrock when we started. He looked great against winning teams, except for in that Houston game, which he finished it. So, but I thought there were sort of 3 winners in the bullpen, and now I'm like 1.25, 1.75 if we're being generous. I don't know what's up. Yeah. And without the extra run on the Jazz homer and without the incredible Cody Bellinger at bat, I don't think they win that baseball game. So shout out to many, many participants, but especially shout out to Jazz for talking shit and backing it up.
Jazz against the Red Sox this year in 12 games, 317 average, 965 OPS, 4 homers, 13 RBI, 5 stolen bases. So if this is the guy, look, you have Jazz on the offensive end. You have Luis Heel on the pitching side of things. Like I said, 0.99 ERA in 5 starts against the Red Sox. He's never given up more than 1 run in a start against the Red Sox since debuting in 2021. This is what the Yankees need to conquer the Red Sox. They need a killer. They need somebody who's going to talk trash. They need somebody who's going to step up when the team needs a win or when they need to respond after getting punched to the mat. After the first 2 games versus the Red Sox, so Saturday evening, Jazz's statement that he made after the Yankees won the first 2 games, he said, "We're the best team in the league. I feel like any team that thinks that they're better than us, they should know that when we step on the field, we're coming with relentlessness and we're coming to step on necks."
You should be good.
I agree. That is not the Yankees' identity by any means. That is the opposite of what the Yankees' identity has been. The Yankees have famously not stepped on their opponents' necks. It's things we've been begging them to do. They don't perform well against division opponents. On the whole, yes, this weekend, different. Last week against the Blue Jays, different, but they are, what'd they go, 4-9 against the Red Sox this year?
Yep.
They went, I think it was a similar, maybe it was 5-8 against the Blue Jays this year. So they did not get the job done on the whole against the 2 teams that are threatening them for playoff positioning. So yeah, work still needs to be done, but it's awesome that Jazz is saying this because on Friday when he got caught stealing, I watched Friday and Saturday in their entirety. I didn't watch last night. I was at See Here Now in Asbury Park. Got to watch Blink-182 and Lenny Kravitz. It was really fun. So I said, you know what? They won the first 2 games. I'll watch the rerun tonight or tomorrow. I'll figure it out. So after Friday and Saturday, I was dialed into both games and on social media. And when Jazz made the throwing error on the double play and when he got caught stealing, Red Sox Twitter was immediately like, "Oh, this clown. Love when we play the Yankees and Jazz Chisholm. He always makes dumbass plays like this that help us win games." And it's like, okay, well, first of all, I mean, he does make some, like, the throws are embarrassing. He's done that a lot this year, and I know he's trying to make a play, but, like, that's something he needs to rein in. It will come. Again, he's only been playing second base on this team for a few months now after the Yankees have flip-flopped him since acquiring him in the trade. So part of it's getting back up to speed and knowing when to hold the ball, so I get that. The steal of third was dumb. I do admire the aggression to some extent, but, like, we can't do that in a close game, and you can't give runs. And there were 0 outs, so, like, it was no advantage. You were getting to third for what? Hoping that someone hit a sac fly and you got home with 1 out instead of 2. But after Red Sox Twitter blew up on him and was, like, immediately clowning him, then he hits the exclamation point home run, and then he destroys them on Saturday, and then he comes out with this quote. And we know that Red Sox fans hate an outspoken rival. They hate somebody who talks trash, and they hate somebody who's good and brags. And now I think we're getting Jazz the agitator under these people's skin, and it's very validating, and it feels good.
Yeah, what we need, there are 2 modes of reaction. Like, a rival is not going to respond. Here's what a rival's not going to do. Hear Jazz say that the Yankees think they're the best team in baseball and just tip their hat and be like, you sure are, fellas. Yeah, that's never going to happen. But there are only 2 reactions that will ever occur to a quote like this. One is for rivals to say, shut up. That's embarrassing. And then one is for rivals to say, shut up. That's embarrassing. But secretly inside be like, oh boy, they got a little swagger now. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, right now it's not accurate, but if they believe that, then maybe they do have a possibility of going on a run, which is how I felt about the Red Sox for like the last 20 years, because they have made it hurt a lot. I will outwardly say, it's a joke. It's ridiculous. This guy thinks they're the best team in baseball. Come on. And then I'll furiously Google their remaining schedule and be like, they could win that series. They could win that series. They could sweep that series. Oh no. Oh God. So that's like, a rival's going to say something blustery, like, yeah, Hugh and What Army are the best team in baseball. And they're either going to mean it or they're going to be internally anxious as they read that quote. And after this series, Red Sox fans should be a little bit anxious, and the Yankees need to continue to play with the edge that Jazz displayed to make sure that it doesn't go to waste, that they do not become another team making empty promises down the stretch. I thought we knew all we needed to know about this Yankees team about a week and a half ago when they lost that second game in Houston. I was like, all right, great. So 4-8, 5-7 in the Gauntlet. We'll see. I'm not going to feel any more confident when it ends than when it started. And now, outside of some bullpen worries, you can see the blueprint for the Yankees, who are not going to win the East. Sad.
Yeah,
because they did that to themselves against the Red Sox and the Blue Jays earlier in the year. They got blasted in both season series. Now they don't have the tiebreaker against either, obviously. And so they're down 4 to the Jays, who beat up the Orioles or clutched up against the Orioles or both. They did it all this weekend. So that's now 4 games back, but it's really 5 because they don't have the tiebreaker. So that's not going to happen, even if they go streaking. I don't see it. You never know. Shock me, but you never know. So what's done is done. All you can do now is bring that edge against the opponents that matter and the opponents that don't necessarily in the long run. The Twins, Orioles, and White Sox are on your schedule now. You have to play them with the exact same intensity.
Play them.
You don't have to prove yourselves anymore. Now that you don't have to prove yourselves, you should take the energy that you distilled in those Prove It series and bring it to the series against inferior opponents. Because you're not beating a major league team without a little bit of edge the last couple of weeks of the season. The Orioles want to beat you. The White Sox want to beat you. I think the Twins want to beat you. They're the only one that I kind of can't tell what's going on in Minnesota. But there are no tomato cans on the schedule. There used to be these 54-win teams playing out the stretch with no pitching and just like 33-year-old veterans in a slog being like, get me to the offseason. Now all the worst teams have young players competing for next season on the roster right now. These teams all want to get you, so channel Jazz's energy and keep it rolling for the next 2 weeks. And again, more importantly, hopefully, if you get there with a favorable draw into October. And Jazz helps. And another guy who helps is Jose Caballero, who started every game of this series as he should have. But that's where it gets a little bit iffy in terms of just the narrative of why he did that. He went 3 for 12. Again, another guy with game-changing speed who uses it. Was like an inch away from clearing the bases with a double in the first inning on Saturday. They won anyway. I'm glad. Hit a home run out of Fenway Park over the monster yesterday against Steven Matz. Didn't see that coming, but apparently that's possible. Did all you asked of him, made the plays, made one weird error. But again, one weird error, kind of the high mark for a Yankee shortstop this year. And he played 2 games in a row against the Tigers because Anthony Volpe had a cortisone shot to help him deal with a partially torn labrum. Why did he play all 3 games at Fenway Park? Did Anthony Volpe need 5 days and counting to recover from this cortisone shot?
Aaron Boone said he wouldn't.
He got a cortisone shot after the All-Star break or during the All-Star break, and then played immediately after the All-Star break and played really well. Hit 7 home runs in 15 days. It led all of baseball in home runs for a little while, and then it faded again. So is he now, did the injury get worse to the point where he couldn't play for any of the last 5 games? Is the injury different now than when it was bothering him this summer? Did he aggravate it? Was it always aggravated? Or is the injury now an excuse for the New York Yankees to play Jose Caballero more often, play him something that borders on every single day?
Yeah.
And what are we about to see in Minnesota? Is Volpe still healing, or is Caballero just the starting shortstop now? And we've decided to go with a sense of normalcy over playing a struggling developmental player through pain all year.
I really am frustrated that the Yankees would need the injury as an excuse to do this, because you know that their ego will be affected if they had to bench the man that they anointed to be the starting shortstop without any tangible evidence outside of just, we like this guy and we think he's going to be good.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating. 2 is, I mean, there is no argument that this is the last we should see of Anthony Volpe in terms of regular playing time and dominating the television screen. It's a combination of factors, right? Like, he's not very good, but also this injury has to be affecting him. There is no way you can go across social media right now. Everybody has an opinion on this, even former players. And there is no way that the Yankees can justify this injury has no effect on his ability to play. And it's weird because the Yankees had that out and Aaron Boone has not taken that out. He's been like, oh, well, the injury is the injury, but like, he's got to play. So if he's good enough to play, then he should be playing. And it's like, yeah, but partially torn labrum, shoulder, important for every way that you move in the game of baseball. Can't you just like throw the kid a bone and say that, yeah, we thought it wasn't going to be this serious? You lie. You lie about every other injury, lie about this one. Say, hey, we got the initial diagnosis, thought that it wasn't going to affect him to the degree it did. We gave it a little bit more runway, maybe a little bit more than we might have been comfortable with, or maybe another team might have been comfortable with, and we got a little bit burned. So now it's time to give him another cortisone shot, rest him a little bit longer. But at this point, we got to go with who's going to help us win moving forward. And if Anthony's not able to pick it up on his end with the limitations of the injury, then we're going to need to figure something out. But at this rate, the plays Jose Caballero is making at shortstop, notwithstanding that one error, night and day with Volpe at shortstop. Every time Caballero gets on base, there is a threat he's going to steal, and that was essentially what we were promised with Anthony Volpe, and Anthony Volpe doesn't do that either. He also doesn't get on base, so that's a major problem.
Tough.
And again, like, Anthony Volpe's calling card should have been, since the beginning, as we've watched him, as we followed him through the minor leagues, it should have been high contact bat with upside power that could surprise you, which is essentially Jose Caballero. High contact bat, high upside with power. You saw it last night. So it seems to me that Caballero has all of the tools that Volpe has, and he's the player that kind of Volpe should be to an extent in terms of his range, his speed, his peskiness, and the fact that he's able to put up these aggressive at-bats, and then he gets on the bases and he's absolutely tormenting pitchers. Like, Friday night was all the difference. Stole the bases and then broke for home with a grounder to second. Would I have advised that? I honestly don't know. I'm so jaded by the Yankees trying to take home plate with the infield in, and they never fucking get it. But his speed is one of a kind. So, like, that's the one guy who can force the errant throw and will be safe if he gets in. And that's what happened. So, like, You're not seeing that type of stuff with Anthony Volpe, and you're not seeing any of the offensive positivity that they thought he would be in terms of like a multi-tool offensive player, and the defense has slipped. So now you're looking at a situation where it's like you have to do what's best for the team. There are 2 weeks left in the season, and then the playoffs begin, and you could be in a series with the Red Sox right when October begins. And there is absolutely no reason Anthony Volpe should be playing in any of those games unless there's an injury to Caballero, unless there's something you have to do to shift around the infield. I don't know what that's going to look like. Maybe you put Caballero at third because Ryan McMahon is still putting up at bats that are not helpful, as we've seen a lot. But like, you have enough issues with this lineup at the moment. Like Austin Wells, this is one of the worst series he's ever had. Like that was just Friday nights not bringing the run over and that awful at bat, and then Saturday striking out 4 times is like, dude, get it together, man. Like I understand, but like absolutely get it together.
There's an inside pitch on Saturday too. If you're looking Austin Wells injury truther, he swung and missed one of the strike threes and basically like lost grip with one of the hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, if you think he has a numb hand, he's getting pitched inside like a guy who has a numb hand.
Yeah.
It's really all I got to say there.
It's agreed. And we've seen also other mechanical issues happen, right? With players. Gleyber Torres had his top hand coming off the bat for like his last year and a half with the Yankees, and his swing looked worse than ever. So like, I don't know what's happening, but there's still like lineup questions. Like McMahon is not great. McMahon is one day, 1 out of every 2 weeks, he's a lightning rod, and then the other days it's like, what are these at bats? The strikeouts are mounting. The soft contact is overwhelming. The swinging at the first pitch and not putting up a competitive at bat is like, come on, dude, you're a professional. And again, you're batting at the bottom of the lineup, so you should, in some respect, feel protected. You are no longer the cleanup guy in Colorado. You're no longer the 3-hitter in Colorado. You are the 8-9 hitter on the New York Yankees, and his offense has not improved. So there's enough issues right now, and they have to play Austin Wells because Ben Rice can't catch every day, and Paul Goldschmidt can't play first base every day, or at least that's what the Yankees are telling us. So with those guys having to be in the lineup, and again, this is not to take away any. Ryan McMahon's defense has been incredible. It's been a savior at the hot corner. So like, I'm not complaining about his offense. I'm just saying it's not good. So to have Volpe, Wells, and McMahon at the bottom of the lineup, that's a 30-year lineup, and it's not good. So you can't have 33% of the lineup being bad or not having an element of the game that's going to potentially be able to swing a certain moment. Like that's you cannot afford that. And the fact that you're backed into a corner with having to play both Wells and McMahon, that leaves Volpe as the odd man out, in my opinion. I don't know if they're going to do it. We're going to see Monday, but yeah, one of the I guess to put it simply is that Caballero was a bright spot in this series. We loved watching him. I think there was overwhelming support for him on the broadcast too. A lot of positive words thrown his way in terms of him being a game-changing player and in terms of him having good instincts. And that's really what you want. That's what you want in a shortstop. Like, do I want him as the starting shortstop forever? No. Like, the Yankees should have higher standards for what the shortstop position should look like. I think most teams should too, but this is what they got right now. So this is it. You get to move on, figure it out. And
he's a great piece in a utility role moving forward. I'd much rather have him installed as not the starting shortstop. Yeah. But again, right now, and we'll see if they play the Anthony Volpe health card, or we'll see if they just keep silent and don't play any card and just keep starting Jose Caballero. I don't think they'll have that luxury because Aaron Boone doesn't get treated as easily with kid gloves like Alex Cora does. But so he'll get asked about it if Caballero starts again on Monday. People will say 6 in a row. Is Anthony Volpe healthy? Was he healthy all year? How much worse is his health now? What's going on? They'll let him have it. He'll have to answer that question. Will he answer that question? I just don't know. But I don't want to leave this Fenway series without talking about a couple of moments that deserve love and adoration and more applause than we gave them. And I just sort of glossed over the Cody Bellinger at bat that gave them breathing room on Saturday. That was fucking crazy and featured the Aroldis Chapman, who we all know and love. And
the meltdown.
Not to be lost in the shuffle. So Judge goes to second on a wilder than wild pitch and sets Bellinger up for a huge pitch after foul tip after foul tip AB. And not lost on me that the final pitch of the at-bat that was knocked off the monster for the insurance room creating double was 97 miles an hour. There's the Aroldis Chapman I know. When the going gets tough, you do not see 103. Even though he's got it, you see him aiming. You see him trying to get into the strike. Connor Wong apparently changed his life by letting him know you can put fastballs in different places. But when the going gets tough, the miles an hour go down a little bit. You see him sacrifice velocity in order to just sort of make sure this gets over the plate. And Bellinger ripped it off the wall. Does Juan Soto also do that? I don't know. What I do know is that this segment of the pivot worked pretty well. A good pivot, an athletic player, a perfect Yankee, and Cody Bellinger went oppo against someone I would call not a perfect Yankee in Aroldis Chapman.
I don't think it's going to be a trend, but I needed the Red Sox to have the true Aroldis Chapman experience against the Yankees. So we could say this is actually what it is, and everything else is imaginary. And I think that that's what it's going to be next year for them. He's not replicating this year over year. I don't think they jumped the gun in paying him. I probably would have extended him too, but I think they're maybe just overlooking the fact that this is going to be, it's shaping up to be his best career season, which is just incomprehensible. But you saw the wild pitches, you saw the lack of control. You saw him get the first 2 outs of the inning and then needs to put one guy away, and then he almost gets his head taken off with an Aaron Judge liner, and then he goes into a 9-pitch at bat with Bellinger, who absolutely tormented him and took control of the plate. So that was just beautiful to see, and I hope that that there is at least some more cracks in Chapman's game down the stretch, because if he continues the way that he's been pitching all year, the Red Sox are really going to be unstoppable in closer games down the stretch, and that's something the Yankees can't afford in the AL wildcard picture. Other than that, insane stat. Cody Bellinger is hitting. This obviously went down after last night because Bellinger went 0 for 4 and I think 0 for 2 or 3 against Crochet. Mm-hmm. But heading into last night's game, Bellinger was batting .370 against left-handed pitching right now. That would have been that if it stands, or if he at least is higher than .362, since 2004, that will be the second highest batting average for a lefty batter against lefty pitchers. This number is never getting toppled. Ichiro in 2004 hit .404 off lefties, which I don't even understand how that's possible. But Bellinger hitting probably now in the 360s against left-handed pitching after the Yankees had so many problems with lefty on lefties over the last few years. An absolute godsend. And the man just needs to be a Yankee beyond this year, and they got to figure it out. So that's it.
Yeah, I had the disturbing thought of would we be as angry as we were with Juan Soto if Bellinger left after 1 year? And then I was like, why am I thinking that? It's September 15th. Things are going pretty well. One final point that I just have to say out loud, and no stat has ever been likelier to not hold up. You got to say it while you still can, because the regular season matchups with the Red Sox are over. We have a potential October head-to-head. I really don't want one. And there's a world where the seeding gets messed around a little bit. If you're not watching Texas and Houston and Seattle, then I don't know what to tell you. The Red Sox stumble against the A's this week, or the Rays, or the Tigers and Blue Jays, because they actually play good teams to close out the season, which is shocking. I don't know who they had, who bribed MLB to make sure the Red Sox actually have to play a fair slate, but apparently it worked. So they've got some challenges, and maybe there's some seeding yet to be determined. And maybe the Yankees just show up, and do take care of business in games where they have to. That would be great. Anxiety free would be fantastic, but preparing for a Yankees Red Sox playoff battle, probably reasonable. So again, whole postseason run could get predicated on this getting busted. So you got to say it now. My whole life, basically, I've always said, it seems like we sign high-profile free agents who struggle against the Red Sox specifically. And guys come in, Aroldis Chapman, a pretty good example of pretty good Yankee career, but a lot of high-profile meltdowns against Boston and against Houston. And I've always sort of said, if there's a guy who comes in and just dominates the Red Sox Rowdy Tellez style, but is unplayable against everybody else, how would you feel about him? And I've always said, hey, you know what? Dominating the Red Sox is pretty important to me. I think I would probably say that guy had a successful Yankee tenure. All right. So what the hell do we do with Devin Williams, who needs to be taken out of high leverage scenarios. Every time he enters one, it's, you're breathing in and out of a paper bag. Low lev Dev, he's taking care of a lot of low leverage opportunities, but Aaron Boone has learned the same lesson with him 15, 20 different times. So objectively, a disappointing acquisition. You can't say Devin Williams, thumbs up, did the job, got out in New York, positive vibes. We wish him well wherever he goes. We're not having fun with him by and large, but against the Boston Red Sox this year, including 2 great, not good, great appearances this weekend. He has faced the Boston Red Sox 5 times, completed 1 inning in each of those appearances, 5 innings, 1 total hit, no walks, 6 Ks, and he hit a guy. So 2 base runners in 5 appearances, and one of them was the leadoff single on Friday night. Williams came in to a 4-1 game on Friday and made quick work of it. Williams came into a tighter game on Saturday. Inexplicably so. The Friday night warm-up pattern had you wondering if Luke Weaver was hurt. I guess not. He came in and did his job on Saturday too. But Williams in that 8th inning, you're like, all right, 7th inning, sorry. You're clearing your throat saying 4-2. Yeah, this one's 1 run closer than it was yesterday, and also 1 game more important than it was yesterday. This is not something I'd like to see right now. And he eliminated the Red Sox. Just
absolutely wiped them out.
Sent them home. Nate Lowe wasn't good in this series either, by the way.
Bad.
Got a little looper yesterday. So congrats on I saw a bunch of tweets about how he came through in the clutch again. Did not come through in the clutch on Friday and Saturday. Struck out in almost every appearance.
What's the first inning is the clutch now?
Yeah.
First
Having
inning,
1 good offensive inning. That's the clutch.
First inning, getting jammed on a ball that he should have never swung at and just lobbed over the infielder's head because the infield was playing in. Like, God.
Yeah, but Devin Williams, I don't know what he is. And I think the answer to the question is, would you be happy if a free agent or a trade acquisition just killed the Red Sox and killed your team against everybody else? I think now I finally know the answer is no. I am not happy. I still think Devin Williams' tenure has been bad. But it's hard to dominate the Red Sox harder than he did during the regular season. That's I bet a lot of people did not know that.
Yeah, and it could be, look, a confidence booster. We say this a lot because we're waiting for the moment to happen where the turnaround, builds momentum off of a couple of good outings and there's a turnaround. But look, there's no better way to do that than against a hated rival where, the bullpen constantly gets victimized against starting pitching, so on and so forth. So I was thoroughly impressed. I wasn't nervous when he came in the second game after seeing what he did in the first game. I'm like, Deb, just do what you did yesterday, and shouldn't have anything affecting your brain because you're coming off a positive outing. And I think he did just that. So let's hope and pray. He's got hopefully a couple layups down the stretch with the Orioles and the White Sox. So if we can get him geared up for the postseason and he can become a high leverage king, then we can hopefully close the book on arguing about whether this trade was good or not. It's never going to be what it was supposed to be, but it might not turn out to be an abject disaster. It could end up being helpful for what they're looking to accomplish.
We don't know what Cruz is. The role is still open if Devin Williams wants to go ahead and take it. And if he is good against the Twins and Orioles and White Sox, a lot of people will say, okay, well, those are the Twins, Orioles, and White Sox. And you can point to this Red Sox series and the Blue Jay series last weekend and say, pretty big moments for Devin Williams, and he got better between the Jays and the Sox. He looks good versus Boston in Boston. So what do you want me to say? It happened. It's one of those things that I blink 12 times, I rub my eyes, and I try to figure out what it means, but all I know is that it did happen. And now here comes the Twins, 4 in Baltimore, 3 at home against the White Sox, 3 at home against the Orioles. We will see you again on Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern. We will see you again next week, 3 o'clock Eastern Monday and Thursday, 2 o'clock Eastern. Sorry, it's 3 o'clock Eastern right now. That's what happens when you read a clock instead of think critically. 2 o'clock Eastern is when the podcast is, but it's live on all your favorite podcast platforms after that. My only ask for the Yankees this week, just treat these games the way you treated the last 12. Like, make the last 6 at home largely inconsequential, except for seeding purposes. Like, try to secure what you need to secure, and then attack the White Sox and Orioles, as I know that you can in the final 2 home series.
And the chips will fall as they may. See what the Blues do.
Yeah. Prove that you can handle the Jays. You can handle the Astros on the road. You can handle the Red Sox on the road. I didn't think you could do 2 of those things, at least, if not 3, and you did them. So now that you've proven that, and the Red Sox lined up Crochet, Giolito, Bello, and you proved you can win that series, that's what the series looks like in the wild card.
Yep.
So whether it's home or away, you've proven you can win that series. You might have to do it twice, but the way to set yourself up as best you can is to go into Minnesota with Carlos Rodón and Cam Schlittler and Luis Heel facing they don't face Pablo Lopez like I thought they did. It's
or Joe Ryan.
Simeon Woods Richardson and Zebby Matthews. No Joe Ryan, no Pablo Lopez. Again, nothing matters if you don't treat these games with respect.
Yeah. Go
into Minnesota and play with an edge and intensity. Play like the team you just were.
Do it.
Look,
like, again, could this all come crashing down? Not crashing down, but, like, could they fumble the momentum tonight or tomorrow? Like, yeah,
sure.
We've seen it happen. Can't not be impressed with what we saw this weekend, though. And, again, like, the more cushion we have over the Red Sox, that was the last chance we had to build it. They did it. They got the extra game. Move on. Take care of business the last few games. See what happens. Remember, the Red Sox and Blue Jays have to play each other. So that could change. The Rays don't like these fucking teams. Both of these teams have to play the Rays. So I don't know. I'm just saying.
Red Sox and Blue Jays have to play each other. Whoever's at the bottom of this wild card standings, which, like, it could be the Red Sox, it could be the Astros, it could be the Yankees, it could be anybody, yet to be determined. But whoever's at the bottom of that and has to scoreboard watch, the Rangers and the Guardians play each other the final series of the year. So somebody's winning all of those games.
Somebody has to win.
You're not going to get double losses from the teams that are chasing you in the final series of the year. So whoever ends up in that precarious position is going to have to win some games down the stretch to fend things off. You're not going to get it handed to you. And so hopefully the Yankees stay in the seat where they are, and hopefully they continue playing to win games. Sounds simplistic, but isn't that easy this time of year? And don't rely on other people doing their business, because you have to maintain that chip on your shoulder and go play these games the way you played the Nationals and White Sox a couple of weeks ago. Like, this is before the Gauntlet. I understand these are losing teams, but Mackenzie Gore is here, and the White Sox have been much better at home lately and much better in the second half in general, and Shane Smith and Martin Perez are here. So go win some games. Play well. Play with a chip on your shoulder, or you'll lose. Same situation. Attack these. Not like, okay, great, now we got a 2-week ramp-up period. You mentioned earlier the games at the end of the year are more important. People will argue back and say, well, if you win more in April, you don't have to win more at the end of the year. I would say, yeah, sure.
It doesn't work like that.
It just doesn't work like that. And you can't, sometimes you get really lucky and you can blank slate it at the end of the year and tabula rasa and just start over entering the playoffs. But usually if you go in ice cold, or you go in on a 6-8 stretch and you're just like, well, I'll wake up when the playoffs start, it doesn't usually happen. And we can't call Aaron Boone a master motivator. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen because a brilliant manager somehow figures out some tactical fix. I wouldn't say Aaron Boone's a guy who I trust to get them off the mat when the playoffs start. You need to go in at your hottest if you want to have a chance to rip through this bracket. And so the Gauntlet was really important. So are the next 13 games. The Yankees still have a lot to prove.
Lot to prove, boys. Let's get it. Yeah, I think everything's good for now. We're in a good mood. Maybe we could channel that positive. Let us channel the positive energy for once instead of having it derailed, and then we have to go back to yelling about stuff. Because believe it or not, I don't really like doing that. I just want to feel good.
I would love if we could win some more baseball games. I wish we had an off day today. We don't. But let's see if the Yankees can do some handling of business. We will see everybody at 2:00 Eastern time on Thursday for the next podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Weinrib. Thomas Carranante, where can the people find you?
I'm at Tommy's_takes. We are both at the official Yanks Go Yard account at Yanks Go Yard FS. FS stands for Fansided. That's where we work. Website, yanksgoyard.com. We have all of the content you can ever imagine up there. Historical pieces, looking ahead to the offseason rumors pieces, projecting some playoff stuff, injury updates, everything under the sun Yankees. A lot of the stuff we're not talking about on this podcast because we don't have 4 hours to go live. So please head on over there. We appreciate you guys reading. We appreciate you tuning in. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Schedule's going to get a little wonky down the stretch. Could be going live for different playoff games or after the fact, elimination, advancements, what have you. Stay in the loop. Love you guys. Let's go Yanks. Take down the Twins. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
We do love you guys. Keep that same energy too. Keep commenting, listening, reading, and watching these games as if they matter, because they certainly do. Nothing is given. Everything is earned. Go Yankees.